Hello, I'm Stan Stalnaker with Hub Culture, and we're at the beautiful Hub Culture Terrace Pavilion in Bermuda at the Global Fund Forum, which has attracted a whole range of hedge funds, administrators, and quite interestingly, one of the most amazing hackers in the world, Mr. Bryan Seely, author of the new book, Cyber Fraud, The Web of Lies, and really what the world calls a white hat, right?
Sure. It's a kind of a transition from gray hat maybe to white hat, and I've had a few black hat sort of experiences, but maybe
Long
a few
time
years
ago.
ago.
We don't talk about those.
Ancient history, statute of limitations.
Right, so, but you're basically an ethical hacker. So
Yeah.
somebody who goes into a company or into a network and looks for vulnerabilities, is that
Correct.
how you would describe it?
Generally, I find problems or puzzles, and I like that. I like the interesting challenge. So a company will say, we need you to do an assessment or sort of like an ongoing development with a product. Can you please make sure that hackers don't get in? And so then we start pretending we're the hacker and going
Right.
after them.
So who better to catch a hacker than a hacker?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So tell me, for our audience, what is a pen test?
Short for penetration test, and I think people use pen test because it's a little bit more easier to say without giggling.
Yeah, and a penetration test means that you are...
Trying to attack all the different vectors that a company has on the, I guess, open internet. So if you have a company that has a website, we're going to attack the website. If you have a mobile application, you need to test it. You need to come at it from a hacker's perspective. You need to look at it from a building with a wall around it. We need to check the wall. We need to make sure, oh, you didn't leave a hole open.
Right. What percentage of companies do you think today have done pen tests or are approaching cybersecurity in those ways?
If I had to guess, 20% have done a pen test.
What percent do you think need to have done a pen test?
100%.
100%, exactly. Talk to me about hacks. What are you seeing now with either your clients or the industry at large? What's happening in the world of cybersecurity? Everyone seems to know that it's a very important and growing risk, but how real is the risk?
There's a lot of my clients and people that I've worked with that get advance notice, or we're seeing a spike, we're seeing a denial of service, we're seeing an attack happening. But then there's a lot of clients that we get called into afterwards who have no idea that we're breached for years and have lost significant amount of data, because when a data loss happens, the sound is nothing. It's quiet. Nothing explodes. There's no Jean-Claude Van Damme jumping off a bridge. It's quiet until your credit card information gets stolen and sold and used. So these clients have no idea they don't think that there's a risk because nothing's happened. They're like, I haven't heard anything, nothing's bad's really happened. So we go in and look at an audit, and sure enough, in firewall logs or different intrusion detection systems, you see, oh wow, this was definitely compromised.
What are a couple of things that a company can do now to beef up their cybersecurity? What are like the top couple do's and don'ts?
Look, having a good policy, starting with like a chief information security officer, or having a chief information security officer, educating your employees and making sure they understand not be downloading stuff they shouldn't be, putting in tools that kind of make their jobs easier, but without being too restrictive, password security, that type of thing. It's being vigilant, being skeptical about different attack vectors and new things, but you don't want to make it so miserable that your company's a prison for employees either.
What's the most common or easiest way that companies get hacked?
The people become the greatest liability. So if you think about it it's almost like turning someone into a zombie. If you're working at a company and you're happy, you aren't going to cause any damage, hopefully. But if all of a sudden you become disgruntled, your boss sleeps with your wife, the bastard, and now you're disgruntled, and now you have the same access as you did before. Now you can do damage. So
are you saying that a lot of
compartmentalizing.
hacks are basically inside jobs?
Sure. The social engineers can manipulate an employee to giving them access when they shouldn't. It's lying. It's a big fancy word for lying. But if you can actually convert somebody without them knowing, which is through malware or a botnet, that kind of thing, you get them to download something, they're click, didn't do anything. Okay, and they move out with the rest of their day. that piece of software is now running, and they didn't even notice because a window didn't pop up and notify them.
Without naming names, what's the worst hack you've seen?
Oh, this one company. Yeah, that was a bad one. Oh, there's tens, 20 million, social security numbers, major universities that had their entire back end exposed. I even found 2 major league baseball pitchers, all their social security information, all their bank account information, in one of the related hacks. A couple Olympic medalists, famous people. Like, wow, that's not good. That's just really terrible. And the scope starts to blow your mind when you say, 10 million, great.
Right.
That's just bad.
So walk us through the process of what happens after a hack. I think that everybody talks about, okay, we're going to get hacked. Oh my God, we got hacked. But how does that data get used in a way that's actually damaging? You kind of understand, I guess, or most people understand that, that my target numbers from the target hack, my credit card numbers got stolen, and then it got sold to some, gang in Eastern Europe, and then they're selling it on Tor, right? But tell me, walk us through the steps of a hack that lead to the loss.
Right. It's not credit card number stolen, badness. It's credit cards get stolen in batches. One credit card number is not really worth that much money. $5, $3, $20. A social security number, a date of birth, and a home address, and a few other pieces of key information. That's worth $20, $30, $40. But criminals, they don't care about 20, 30. That's a pickpocket's, 5 minutes. They want 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. They want to sell them quickly because they're not going to be worth much fast. So they go on, it's a lot of Russian related websites typically that we're seeing these types of things. They steal the credit card numbers. Once they have them, they need to turn that product over quickly. They need to sell as many as they can before all of them get canceled. And so a lot of times you can actually, like security researchers, and I've done this myself, bought or paid for these types of databases to find out who was hacked. To find out from people, you can actually look at email databases and say, okay, the first 50 were from the developers of the company because they were testing their security.
Amazing.
Or building accounts. So now you know this company was hacked. So that's how OPM, it was actually the database that was released on the black market, talked about that it was a federal prisons league rather than the OPM.
So you have a new book coming out called Cyber Fraud, The Web of Lies.
Correct.
It's on Amazon in July 2015.
It's available for pre-order now on Amazon. It will be available July 15th.
Okay, so give us one headline from the book, and then let's find out how to find you. So I'm sure a lot of companies are going to be interested in talking to somebody like yourself because the whole who do we trust in this kind of space is a big issue for, I was just in Silicon Valley, every single company focused on this topic.
The book is about a nationwide scam. Think about the first time someone heard about phishing emails. No one knew what it was, so everyone trusted their email. Now no one trusts their email. This is a new type of scam that is present on the internet. It is larger than the Silk Road. It is more damaging, and it actually finds its victims rather than people having to go find it. It affects every American in the country and people actually all over the world.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Bryan.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
stopping into the Hub. I'm Stan Stalnaker in Bermuda at the Global Fund Forum with Bryan Seely. Check out his book on Amazon.